Folks, 3 runs needed of 1 ball. Deepti Sharma had taken Mignon Dupree's wicket, who had just scored 50. It felt that a miracle was about to happen. But in an absolute heartbreak, which I think just we cannot get over it for many years now, Deepti Sharma bowled a no ball. A free hit, 2 runs needed of 2 balls. Shabnim Ismail and Mignon Dupree got South Africa over the line. And what does that mean, folks? India, for the first time since the 2016 ICC World T20, have not made it to the semi-finals of a major ICC event. 2017 Women's World Cup final, they reached the final, they lost to England. The 2018 ICC World T20, they were knocked out in the semi-final due to poor team selection. Mithali Raj was dropped. Remember that, folks. 2020, they lost in the final at Melbourne thanks to Alisa Healy's brilliance. But here, in hindsight, a big loss against England, the inability to defend 270 against Australia, and also that major loss to New Zealand killed their chances.
No, but those were all in the past. What happened today is what matters. India could very well have been the one that could have qualified for the semis. They would have qualified. We all thought they will qualify when that ball went up in the air and the catch was completed. But I just don't know what to even say, because you remember me just saying, wow, how is that possible? I don't know, it's like it must be so difficult for the women team, because they at one point was celebrating the wicket because they thought only 1 ball left and the game is probably in the bag.
Exactly.
But as luck would have it,
it was like, I'll tell you what was the key fact, the key stat behind this loss. India were 204 for 3 when in 37 overs. They could have well crossed 300, which meant the game was over.
But it's true. I'm saying India batted poorly in the last 10 overs. They scored 51 runs, by the way, lost 4 wickets. And a lot was expected from batters like Mithali Raj got out. Even the players who came, Vastrakar and Rana, they did not score many runs. And that was a problem. It proved to be India's undoing right at the end. But
it was a rare off day for Pooja Vastrakar though. She was performing so well in the previous games.
But it's bound to happen at some point, and it happened when India needed it the most.
Yes.
I'm saying that irrespective of that innings, irrespective of what happened in those 10 overs, India should still have had this game in the bag.
Absolutely.
I still think their fielding was poor. You saw that boundary they conceded with the misfield.
Yes.
Then the catch.
Smriti Mandhana.
Mignon Dupree was dropped.
By Smriti
The woman
Mandhana.
who made the difference eventually, of course, Laura Woolworth, played a sensational
innings. Yes.
And she's been the woman in form. She has been the best batter at this year's World Cup. I think she scored 41 runs against Bangladesh and won 3 against the West Indies women.
Yes.
Apart from that, she has scored more than 60 runs every innings. So in 5 innings, she has got 5 50s. And against the bigger teams.
Yeah, and let us not forget Marzan Kaap's blitz at the end, which got South Africa back in the game.
Yeah, 32 runs, if I'm not wrong.
But fielding, Mandhana dropping, Mignon Dupree.
That was another huge point.
Yes.
But I still can't wrap my head around what happened in that last over.
Deepti Sharma, let us not forget.
How can you overstep? How can you overstep at such a crucial juncture? This reminds me, even though that happened much earlier in the game, this reminds me of the Jasprit Bumrah no ball that happened with Fakhar Zaman in the Champions Trophy final. And that cost India the game eventually. He scored 100 and...
You had fielding lapses against Australia, by which you could not defend 274. At that time, yes, Auckland's small boundaries, the dew was a major factor. But in this match, the bowling, India were anyway jolted when, for the first time in the history of the World Cups for India, Jhulan Goswami missed a match because she had a side strain. And when Deepti Sharma bowled that no ball, Jhulan absolutely lost it.
But we also got to talk about India's bowling. They did not bowl well. You saw Meghna Singh, she went for more than 6 runs and over. And the others also, we should also remember India got back into this game. When Laura Goodall and Laura Woolworth both were playing, you knew that South Africa were in the ascendancy. You thought that probably the game is slipping away from India's grasp. Then they got back. They got both those set batsmen out.
Yes.
Then they got Sunil Loose also out.
Yes.
Very soon. Like she scored 22 runs of 25 balls, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
But even then, they had good batters. They had Marizanne Kapp. They had Chloe Tran, who by the way hit a few.
Chloe Tran changed
her
the-
knock was very important.
Yes.
Those 4 boundaries that came.
Of Rajeshwari Gaikwad.
2 of Rajeshwari Gaikwad and 2
Yeah.
in the previous
Previous
over.
over.
That made the difference. And then of course Mignon du Preez hit 1 right at the end of that over.
Yes.
And you knew at one point the run rate that South Africa required was more than 8, almost 8.
Yes.
If I'm not
let
wrong.
me tell my folks, like, why did India come to this situation? India heading into this contest was a must win. Why? Because England were facing Bangladesh, and because England defeated Bangladesh by 100 runs, their net run rate was up, and that's why they sealed the 3rd spot. Because now when you look back at it, the washout that happened between South Africa versus West Indies proved to be the ultimate.
No, but I also have to say that West Indies women were probably gonna win that game with the way they started.
Yes,
South
4
Africa
wickets,
were
yeah.
4 wickets down in 11 overs.
What a spell by Shinal Henry.
So if you look at it, probably India got lucky. Otherwise, if West Indies would have gone to 8,
Yes.
South Africa would have been on 7 points, and India would probably still have crashed out.
Exactly. But that is the
points. South Africa would have
reason.
been on 8
So
points.
your 4 semi-finalists in the ICC Women's World Cup 2022 are Australia, 7-zip, a perfect league game for them, 14. South Africa, with this win, they have sealed 2nd spot. England in 3rd.
They sealed the
West
2nd
Indies.
spot irrespective of this
Yes.
game's results. South
4th
Africa.
spot, the women from the Caribbean. Finally, they have gotten their dues. They have had the most thrillers in the ICC World
No,
Cup
they
2022.
started off really well. They won their first 3 games, and
Yes.
then they had that big loss against India, which also they started well. But right now, let's just talk about this Indian women's team.
Yeah.
We have to focus on what has happened with Mithali Raj's women, and we all know that it's probably the end of the road.
Today,
for-
Mithali hit a 50, 68, which was superb. Harmanpreet
but
hit 48.
I won't still call it super. My problem with Mithali Raj's innings, and I've been saying it
Yes.
out loud, India's batting is a problem at times when they don't, sort of rotate the strike enough. They
Lack
have
of power hitting.
too many dot balls, and when they try to hit the ball, they get out. Mithali Raj happened today. You saw, like, when we needed those quick runs.
Quick runs.
If you have got a start where you are 95 odd runs in 15 overs, you got to make it count.
Shafali
But that-
Verma,
And
again.
even though Mithali Raj got a 50 and all, it did not make a huge difference. Yastika Bhatia also got out cheaply.
Yes.
Harmanpreet hit a few boundaries, but
But she couldn't carry on.
it's just unfortunate that those 50 runs right at the end should have at least been 70, 80 runs. And South Africa, even though it looked like they were struggling at one point, the required run rate was going well above 8.
Eight.
You thought maybe they are gonna lose, but they kept at it. They did not lose hope. Both Mignon du Preez, she was dropped by
Yes.
Smriti Mandhana. That made a huge difference.
difference.
Then the misfields happened, and of course, then after that she got to a 50.
That is why the saying holds true. Catches win matches.
So many things did not go India's way.
Yeah.
That could have gone
And
India's
credit
way.
to South Africa in the final overs. In the beginning, they missed their lengths, but in the end, they were bowling short. They intimidated the Indian batters tremendously. That is why you see 13 overs, just 70 runs. So that is why they corrected their lengths. They hit the hard lengths, especially Shabnim Ismail. Shabnim is an out-and-out pacer. And
She
when
is one of the fastest bowlers in the world.
And when she
If not
gets
the
that
fastest,
hard,
yeah.
when she hits that hard length, it is incredibly hard. But yes, that stat of 13 overs, just 70 runs proved to be very, very costly. Imagine 15, 20 runs more. What a big difference it would have made.
It would have made a huge difference. South Africa would have been under more pressure. They just timed their chase well enough, even though it went down to the last ball. And at one point, it looked like India can probably get
Yes.
that win. But India should have at least scored more
And
runs.
India cannot blame the dew factor.
Let me
because-
just take a few comments,
Yes.
by the way. Kamleshwar Singh is saying, you guys always talk about that there's some issue in the dressing room. It should be sorted, and not a single time about women's team, while it's clearly open that there was a problem in Italy. See, we know there's been a problem
There
in
has
the
been a
past
problem,
also.
yes.
You know that in 2018 when it all transpired, Mithali Raj had written a letter to the BCI saying whatever problem she had
With
the-
Ramesh Pawar,
Ramesh Pawar.
with
And
Diana
of course
Dalji.
Ramesh Pawar went, lost his job
Yes.
eventually.
Yes.
W.V. Raman was the coach some time back,
Yes.
and now Ramesh Pawar again is the coach. So I'm sure there have been lots of conversations about this.
Now
that
you will
there might
see
be
a lot
problem
more
in the dressing
developments
room.
now.
And I'm sure that now they have gone out, you might see a
More
few
developments.
things in the media, because right now people were quiet, right now people weren't talking about it.
Yes.
But there's an inkling that Mithali was still unhappy with what was going on, and that probably the other senior players weren't too keen on listening to Mithali as the captain. So those things might have been there, and we probably are going to hear about it once it all comes out, if it comes out.
Yunesh Puram and Kunal Singh are saying Indian women always play poor cricket at the end of crucial matches. World Cup final and today also. Kunal Singh is saying not just women but men also choke in deciding matches.
2 finals we have lost.
Yes.
2 finals we have lost, and India also have got now poor record. Men's also, like when they go to semis, they've been losing.
No, and again,
the final also for
the
that matter.
inconsistency of the Indian cricket team did not help. I mean, see, they had a full 1 month to acclimatize to the conditions in New Zealand. They played 5 ODIs, they played a solitary T20 against the White Ferns. But they lost 4-1 and 1-0. No problem. At least you had.
No, but if you had, I followed those games keenly because we knew that was the best practice for India, by the way. So among the teams that were there in this World Cup, India were the last one to play a series against New Zealand at home.
Yes.
They played a 5
ODIs and 1 T20.
6 match ODI series or 5 match ODI
5 match ODI series.
And 1 T20.
4-1 we lost, and we lost the 1 T20 also. Yeah, so again.
Poor performance, and considering the kind of experience they must have gained from those matches, it clearly did not show. And I just saw somebody pointing out that India did not deserve to qualify.
Ahmadullah has raised a very valid point. India has to work a lot on its fielding. No more catch drops can be afforded. Yes, Ahmadullah, yes. The fielding against Australia let them down big time. And even in the series against Australia, they could have ended the streak much later had it not been for dropped catches, misfields, and Jhulan overstepping. Remember against Beth Mooney?
Yes.
That was again a last over throw. And again, this is not the first time that last over a no ball has happened. Jhulan Goswami overstepped, but that was geometry experts would say, oh, it was marginal, but it was a no ball. It was well over the waist. Here, Diti Sharma.
I still can't wrap my head around how did they lose this game.
Yes.
India's problem is there's so many things that we can talk about. They did not bowl well. Only 2 bowlers got two wickets each, if I'm not wrong. Nobody else got picked up any wickets. In the game, we needed more wickets. There were a few runouts.
You probably lost it, Siddhant. You probably lost it when they just managed 50 runs in 10 overs. You cannot have that base when Shefali Verma had laid it so beautifully. Look at the shots she was playing, moving to the offside flick.
Also, that is the intent we were talking about.
Yes.
If you remember the videos that I've done on the Women's World Cup, my entire bone of contention with the Indian women's team has been their strike rate. That when you are losing wickets, also the other batter comes in and plays so slowly that you put even more pressure on the people coming in after you. So that is what Shefali Verma, when they started, imagine an opener's giving you such a fantastic start and you still not being able to convert it into a victory. That is rather disappointing. And Shefali Verma, by the way, was not part of the team in the earlier matches.
Exactly.
She was dropped because her form had waned a little. But she came back, did decently well, and today she looked like in good touch. And again, Smriti Mandhana did also score a few runs. Scored them at a good click, but Mithali, that start was slow, even though she sort of got it to that 80 strike rate. But when you have played that many balls, I feel like you should be getting more runs or get a bigger innings. Like Laura Woolworth, whatever she does, she scores 80 runs. She scored 85 runs, 75 runs, things like that. That we have seen from Mithali. She gets to 50 and doesn't do a lot after that. That is a problem.
Abel Abraham seems to be understanding my point that 300 plus was mandatory given the start we had.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you get that kind of 95 in 15 overs and with no wickets at that point, of course, they lost Shefali Verma and then you lost Yastika Bhati also in quick succession. But still, even then, after the kind of score they were, if I'm not wrong, 223 for 3 wickets after 40 overs. You still expect 70 runs from the last
80,
80 runs you expect from the last 10 overs, right? With 7 wickets in hand. What happened?
Nothing.
Did not happen.
Did not happen. Smriti looked out of sorts after Shefali's run out. Kusinu now saying, I would say that it was not the high standards that Mandhana had in this World Cup. Yes, she had one brilliant 100 against the West Indies. Let us not take that away. But yes, if you look at her exploits from 2017, 18, 20, this wasn't a very typical Mandhana consistent World Cup, if you have to look at it. She had high standard, but yeah, in 2017 she started with a 90 and 100, but she faded down.
But my entire point is the games India won,
she did very well.
She scored a 100 also
against
West Indies.
There are now calls, like Yogesh and others are like saying, there should be mental conditioning coach in men's and women's team World Cup runners, just like Mike Horn was in 2011 World Cup for men's team. But again, mental conditioning, it just plays a very small part in it. The skills that you execute, I mean, you cannot tell Mike Horn to condition, oh, don't bowl a no ball in the last over.
No, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to what the player's mindset is, and our problem is, we saw it. If you guys remember that Women's World Cup, the ODI World Cup final against England.
England, yes.
Okay, there also we choked. We
Veda-
should have won that game.
Exactly.
We really should have won that game. And Anya Shabsol and everybody got picked up wickets.
I mean,
and I
Veda-
at one point was thinking this is India's game.
Yes.
And India somehow choked. And lot of people have been saying that India are the new chokers.
Yes.
Because we reached the final, we reached the semis. This time we haven't even done that.
Yeah.
This was a virtual quarterfinal. This was in a way a do or die
Do-or-die
encounter.
match, yes.
India needed those 2 points just when you thought that with the kind of start we got, with the intent was there, and just nobody sort of.
This is in a long line
Followed
of
through.
missed opportunities for the India women's cricket team and the men's cricket team in ICC events in the past, ever since 2014, if I may say. 2014 onwards till now, you have been plagued by this big gameitis. Like you were saying, no, there is this disease called big gameitis where you just don't miss those opportunities.
And in that game also, I remember Deepti Sharma was also fiddling. Like you remember her knock, you thought maybe she'll get us over the line.
Yes.
And then
Yeah, the 2017 World Cup final hurts because you needed 28 of 35 balls. Veda Krishnamurthy was batting like a dream, but you lost wickets at crucial
Odian
times.
Natya Sansad is saying, was this a no ball?
Yes.
I think something is behind
No,
the
no,
line.
no, no. You have to have something behind the line grounded.
Also, like even if you go out, if nothing, by the way, I
Yeah.
can't show you, like if nothing is grounded behind the line, the umpire has the right to call it a no
Call
ball.
it a no ball.
And that is what happened. By the way, it was never called on field. It was a third umpire,
umpire.
after looking at the replays
Yes.
said, boss, this is a no ball. So clearly it was a no ball. The third umpire must have looked at the replays a number of times. So let's not get into that.
Ja Panjaria is saying, do current players have big match temperament? Of course. This core of Smriti Mandhana, Shefali Verma, Mithali Raj, Harmanpreet Kaur, Yastika, they have all been there for many ICC tournaments. It's not as if this was their first major ICC event. No. They have the big match temperament. But on that day, see, as I said, 10 overs, 50, 13 overs, just 70. It cannot help you win games. And when you drop catches like how they did against Australia, it doesn't help. Catches win matches. There is a saying that has been done ad nauseum from 140 years. It is proven even here now.
Catches win
South
matches.
Africa women's team have done the reverse of what the South Africa men's team have done. The South Africa men's team had made it a habit to get knocked out by India in major ICC events. But now the women's team have repaid the
The
faith.
biggest reminder of that was the 2007, the inaugural World T20.
Oh,
South
oh.
Africa went out by losing just one game during the entire World Cup. That was against India.
India.
They needed us 120 odd runs.
They
to,
needed 126 to knock New Zealand out.
to knock New Zealand out. But Harbhajan, everybody, and that game, it's still fresh in my mind because I was jumping with joy because India, you remember, had lost that first game to New Zealand in the Super 6.
Yes.
And then
And
they
then
went.
And Harbhajan's
Super
kiss, like this, iconic. Unfortunately, we will have to kiss India women's cricket team goodbye because
We will not have to kiss them goodbye. It's goodbye. It's done. It's already happened. There's
It
no
is.
no doing it or whatever. It's just disappointing because we were watching the game together and we were sort of excited. Maybe like they'll get through. Even though at one point we were also wondering whether, oh God, they've lost this
another
game
one of
with
our
those 4 boundaries.
another one of our family members seems to agree with you, Siddhant. Mithali should have played little faster. She created unwanted pressure on the other batters.
But
Yes.
this has happened throughout the tournament.
the
My
tournament.
entire point is, yes, we have to, by the way, this is not the first time it has been highlighted. This has been highlighted in the past as well, where people have been talking about Mithali Raj's strike rate, and that has been a problem. Even the games we lost, one match, if I'm not wrong, she scored 50 odd runs,
50
but
odd.
from 80 balls.
80 balls.
How does that help your side when you are chasing a big
Yes.
score? It really doesn't.
Exactly.
And those sort of put even more pressure on the batters that come after you. Either, my point is, you get out trying to like play aggressively,
Yeah.
because really, like, how much of a difference that could have made. Sometimes the intent is all that matters. You remember why do I like Rishabh Pant is simply because he goes out with intent. Sometimes he might play a rash stroke, which
Fearless.
is not needed.
Yeah.
But sometimes those click can give you such victories like the Gaba.
It can change
You
momentum.
knew Rishabh Pant could change the game, and he changed the game. He won the game. And for me, it's one of the most historic test series
Yes.
because Australia were at full strength. You need players like that, and
Yeah.
there are players like that in this side. Harmanpreet Kaur plays that kind of brand of cricket. We saw it against Australia when they knocked them out in that ODI
Wow.
World Cup
Yes.
in England.
We
That
saw
170,
glimpses of
what a knock that was.
We saw glimpses of that old Harmanpreet in some 2-3 games in this World
I
Cup.
agree. Like
Yeah.
today also we saw glimpses, but my point is the others also have to chip in, right?
Yes.
It can't always be just two people batting well
But
and
Siddhant,
bailing you out.
but
That's
Siddhant,
why, yeah.
now I think we have to stop, look and listen to just pay tribute to potentially two of our greatest stalwarts. Maybe. We don't know. Nothing is official yet. This is the last time we have seen Mithali Raj and Jhulan Goswami.
I think it's been a great journey for both of them, but
Yes.
it's unfortunate that they have not won an ICC trophy.
We needed this World Cup win for Jhulan and Mithali for whatever they have done. They have put India women's cricket team on the world map. Now, why we are powers? Imagine to be considered with the likes of Australia,
See,
England,
Mithali
and South
Raj is
Africa.
like, I'm saying, synonymous to women's cricket like Sachin Tendulkar is to men's
Yes.
cricket. And
Yes.
even he eventually finished with the World Cup, his lifelong dream.
Yes.
That hasn't happened to Mithali Raj, and I don't think she'll play the next World Cup because
Yeah, it's very sad. It's very sad, and especially Jhulan. Let's not forget Jhulan,
But
leading wicket taker of World
But
Cups.
I have to like sort of disagree. I think it's also time that we look to a different brand of cricket.
Yes.
It's gone past the Mithali Raj era because you need people to play like Harmanpreet Kaur. Like I believe
You need Shefali Verma.
Shefali Verma and
You need Yastika,
Mandana.
Vastrakar, Mandana. They are the new
These
generation.
are the players, the new generation. I believe that's the kind of cricket you need to like sort of enforce into your
Yes.
side. And with Mithali Raj, it's the old school cricket that we talk about more often. And even though, yes, I agree, she's been a legend of the game, done a lot for Indian women's cricket, everything is there. But for me, still needed a lot more from her.
Still need a lot more.
Lot
yes.
more from her, and this World Cup, I think so. Her performances were a little disappointing, even though she might have scored a few runs here and there. But and not to forget, our field placements also were pretty wayward.
Pretty dodgy. I didn't
Like
understand.
you saw,
that.
like the sweep also usually either you have a deep backward square or you. But there was just a deep mid wicket. There was nobody at fine leg or deep backward.
Even
square.
when
Like
that free
the
hit was
sweep-
been done, you saw the field. Nothing at third man, nothing at fine leg. And
I
you gave
mean,
them open spaces to just go for the singles and the twos every single time in those last 2 overs. So yes, I'm very, very sad.
You are sad. I'm angry. I'm
angry,
just
yes.
angry because
Because
what?
yeah, it's,
Like they should have.
they should have won this.
They should have
The
had this
Deepti
game in the
Sharma
bag
no
much
ball
longer.
will be talked about a lot. The Deepti Sharma no ball.
The no balls will be talked about every time, and that's why I'm saying that I still remember Jasprit Bumrah's no ball at that Champions.
But in fairness to Jasprit Bumrah, he became one of the greatest after that no ball.
No,
and
no,
he
no.
hasn't overstepped since.
My entire point is Jasprit Bumrah is one of the greatest bowlers India produced in recent times. He's the way he's going, he's going to be an Indian legend for
He
sure.
will be, he will be.
But that still doesn't discount from him
Yes,
from the fact
yes.
that you should not be bowling those no balls.
Indeed.
That is how it is, right? How can a spinner of Deepti Sharma's height, who's not even that tall by
And
the way,
pretty accurate,
and
by the
okay,
way.
usually pretty accurate, not that time.
Yes.
How did she overstep?
Pressure.
And pressure is okay, one thing, but she is experienced enough. It's not
is,
like
it
she's
is.
playing her. She's been there for the past 4
4 or
5
5
years.
years, yes.
She was part of that India side that lost the final also.
2020
She has been part of
Melbourne.
the World T20 side that reached the finals again
Yeah.
and lost to Australia there. So I'm not saying that like she's short of match experience. It's just that they have not been able to replicate those situations in their head, and probably they just lose it right at the end.
Yes, as I said, maybe our family members have said it rightly. Maybe there is the need of an urgent physical and mental conditioning coach of the hour.
I just think it's time to bid these legends goodbye and probably look at
But
the others.
Jhulan and Mithali, it will not be announced officially, it may happen after some months. But whatever it is for your contributions, we still salute you for whatever you have done. It has been a tremendous achievement. Like, you made women's cricket now on par as far as popularity is concerned with the men's. And that is no mean feat, considering where we began from. Mithali, and it's a very unique stat.
But I have to say the kind of
Yes.
superpower we call in Indian cricket is, we know BC has the richest board in the world,
Yes.
everything is there. But what you expected out of women's cricket, of course, the women's IPL that's probably going to take place from next season onwards,
yes.
is going to help. We have seen how it has helped both Australia and England.
The women's big bash and the vitality
Women's big
blast.
bash and
100.
everything like
Yes.
their women's cricket gets more sort of recognition.
Exactly.
And Indian players are allowed to play in the WBBL. And
But the
even-
criticism of the BCCI, see, even the West Indies women's team, they are launching a women's CPL earlier than us. What is stopping us from not having an IPL much
No, but
sooner?
it's coming. Now
It's
we know
coming.
it's coming. the IPL governing council has already made the recommendation.
Yes.
And whenever the general meeting happens, the BCA AGM, whenever that happens, we'll probably just stamp
Points
on
table.
it.
I will need the points table just to sum it up then. Yeah, so
Go back.
go back here.
Wait, I'll.
Yes, so that is the problem now. So yes, as you can see, the sorry state of our points table which is there. India are 5th with 6 points, so that is why they will not make it for the first time since 2016 in the ICC Women's World Cup knockout of any format. Australia, perfect 7-0 zip, 14 points. They will take on the West Indies, who are in 4th. South Africa will clash again with England. Now one hopes South Africa win a knockout game for the first time after a very long time.
By the way, Janmajay Sahu is sort of agreeing with me. He says Mithali was not taking singles in limited overs cricket. It's the worst part that she was not rotating the strike.
Yes.
Let's get over all this and play another brand of cricket like other teams. I completely agree with you.
Yes.
It's time to look beyond some players, and they've been legends of the game, and of course they deserve the respect that they already garner, by the way. But you can't keep looking at the past and their status from the yesteryears and think that's gonna bring you glory in the future. You need to move on. It's not like we'll keep looking at Sunil Gavaskar and play thing like West Indies. He played. We can't just keep looking at the past that way. I don't know what even I was thinking of Sunil Gavaskar, like the
Manish Mohapatra is like saying, I hope BCCI invests some part in women's domestic tournaments also. See, the IPL is coming up, but yes, in the past couple of years, due to the pandemic or because of other logistics, the women's domestic tournaments have not been held in India. So one hopes that after this, it is held on a regular basis. We have the talent pool coming up because now India will now start looking beyond Mithali and Jhulan. So we
absolutely, with the IPL, you see, you have to play that aggressive brand of cricket. You know people are going to come up. You see what IPL has done. It has given India a pool of players over the years. Even though we also haven't won a World Cup in a long time since 2011.
I mean, if I have to play the devil's advocate and
Champions Trophy we got in 2013.
No, highlight the Katu Satya, if I may say. India, ever since they started playing the IPL, the men's team, I'm saying, they have not won the World T20. The World T20 even came before the IPL.
Zisun Islam is saying women's BBL बहुत पहले से हो रहा है. I've been following it. Our Indian cricketers, by the way, have played the women's BBL and are still playing the Big Bash. Shefali Verma was there. Smriti Mandhana plays. Harmanpreet Kaur is there.
Even Veda Krishnamurthy
was there. So
yeah.
And Jemima
Rodriguez.
And she was also there.
And she was not picked in this World Cup.
And she did really well for the side. So
will Harman be the next captain? Yogesh is saying too early. Now the repercussions will now come out in the next couple of days. The BCCI will announce.
But of course,
Mithali will have
Harman is the next in line. She's the T20
maybe
skipper,
if we have to look at it, why not Mandhana as the captain? New captain. A new blood, a new way of...
But I think it's just better for now to have one limited overs captain. I think Harmanpreet should get that mantle and she should be the one leading the side for now. And yes, in the future you look at people like Smriti Mandhana and that's important as well because I believe they are the future and they have been doing really well for India in the last few years. It's just that we haven't clicked as a unit just when we needed to.
Siddhant's reaction, he said he was angry. Yes, 1.3 billion Indians will not just be angry, but sad also because we needed to do it for Mithali and Jhulan, it didn't happen. So yes.
My point is they probably did not do it for themselves.
Yes.
You can't keep living in the past. We had to do it for Mithali and Jhulan. Even Sachin played good knocks when he was there in the 2011 World Cup. Even he may have been dropped in the semi-final against Pakistan 4 times.
And that Ajmal
LBW, which everybody thought is out and it sort of was missing the leg stump. Everything is there. But I'm saying he still got those runs, right? He still played well during the World Cup. It was just that he got out earlier in the final.
That no ball. Haunting. That'll haunt us.
That'll haunt. I'm sure that's haunting Deepti Sharma right now.
Yes.
And
the tears will flow and we hope that there is some clarity from Mithali and Jhulan in the coming weeks. Let's see. But sad day for Indian cricket fans.
It's now
very sad day.
It's a very sad day and we must tell you that after a while we'll soon be back because it's a double header in the IPL and we'll try to put the disappointment of the Indian women's team. I had high hopes for them. I thought at least they'll win today's game considering the kind of spin bowlers they had. I thought South Africa, because they only won against Pakistan by a 6 runs or something,
run margin,
and they got troubled by the spinner. I thought maybe that's going to help India. but
Not to be.
not to be.
Not to
and
be, yes.
Yeah,
But
I'm
yes,
angry,
the
disappointed,
caravan now moves solely to the IPL. Join us on Sports Today.
We'll soon be
comment,
live,
and
by the way, guys.
subscribe. Yes.
77, I don't know what your real name is, but 77 says your predictions for MI versus DC and RCB versus PBKs.
We are coming live.
We are coming live in a little while from now. And yeah, guys, unfortunate for all of us Indian fans. We talked about that India now needs to look beyond its legends and probably get in and play a different brand of cricket that hasn't been the case, at least in the ODI format. So hoping we're going to see a few changes, and probably what's not been said in the media so far, you guys will soon find out.
Absolutely. But like, comment, share, subscribe to Sports Today, folks. More cricket is coming.
More cricket is coming, and we'll be back with our IPL analysis.